and welcome back to the second part, Dream Big, Creating a Better World for Yourself, here with Shervin Boloorian, sound healing from Bali, traveling in the world right now, having released his new album, To One with the Beloved, to help bring about peace, understanding, and bridging the worlds between the Middle East, especially coming from his background, with the Western world. We had a fabulous conversation about Rumi poem, bridging, allowance, self-forgiveness, understanding that we are here to create a higher octave of being. So I want to welcome you back, Shervin. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, you are a gem, and I love your music. I love your voice. I love where you come from, and knowing that you've come from tie and suit kind of look to this kind of way of being, and having found your way to living your passion, which you already were doing good things for the world, but not in a way that was in harmony with your personal sensitive style. So you're a father of two twins that are gorgeous. You live in Bali, you travel the world, you live a lifestyle of a dream, and you help people connect to their heart and soul. And you do that through music. Now, I want to take this second part of the interview more into the nuts and bolts about music, sound healing, and what happens in sound healing, what gets activated. You've studied it, you've done your degree in it, so you can probably tell us a lot. If we could take it into nuts and bolts and anything you can share with us so we understand more about sound healing and maybe are moved to explore it, it certainly has been used in a lot of traditions as a vehicle of meditation, as a vehicle to ascend into finer vibrations. Over to you.
Sure. Well, thank you very much again for the invitation. I'm so delighted to be part of this incredible summit that you put together.
Thank you.
My personal way of entering this world is through sound vibration, and there are many people there are all different styles and kinds and access points when it comes to sound therapy, sound healing. And I believe even Don has a great knowledge in this field himself, your partner. But I just want to, my emphasis, I work particularly with the sound and Chinese medicine. That's the combination that I work with. And so it's really about the energy field of the body. It's really about the energy balancing in the meridians. It's about the organic structure and feeding the organic structure. Everything I do is entirely natural. There's no synthetic beatboxes or drum machines or loopers or anything like that. It's
unplugged.
all unplugged. And in that way, we are able to tune into the beautiful power of the overtone, the natural overtone, which I believe is the most overlooked part of the sound healing world. And it's one which really is the most scientific, because the overtone is a sequence, it's a mathematical sequence. When you start to hit one note, particularly a Tibetan bowl or these beautiful brass chimes that I have from the Tamado Academy, there's a fundamental tone that is struck, but then there's this incredible sequence of other tones that start to come in that give this spiraling effect, create this incredible sense of like you're flying, like you're grounded, like you're expanding. And so that I believe, that mathematical sequence, incidentally, is the same mathematical sequence that you find in DNA ratio. It's found in the phi ratio, the golden mean ratio. It's found all over nature. It's the way we study harmonics. It's the way we study the stars. It's in every facet of our lives. And I believe it's that part of it, when the space is given for these overtones to start to wash over the body, that's when I believe the magic happens. And by magic, I'm talking about balancing of the hemispheres of the brain, increased blood flow for the body, the lung capacity starts to increase, deeper breaths, longer breaths, the whole heart rate slows down. All of these wonderful things start to occur when we start to use music and sound for generating space rather than filling space, which is what most musicians do day in and day out with their presentations and the way that they share their music. And so this is really all about getting into the subtle world of how sound can affect the energy field. And then what I do with the tuning forks, applied directly on the body, on the acupuncture points themselves, part of the Tamado training that I have is much more about loosening up blockages physically and sending energy into the body to activate people who are in need of extra boosting, for example. Then I get certain temperaments of people who just need to be chilled out and relaxed, and I use a different treatment with them to relax them and bring them back to themselves. So on and on and on. There's so many different ways in which these types of treatments and therapies work, but I would really encourage anybody who wants to get into this world, if you're a musician or if you're an energy worker, please train with a master. Take the time to honor this discipline. Don't just pick up a bowl and start banging it, call yourself a therapist. It takes a lot of effort and energy to start to learn the nuances of this work, and it's rewarding. It's like any other discipline. You will start to feel the rewards because you will be grounded in something. And in particular, Tamado is grounded in scientific research done by Fabien Mamon in 1981 at the University of Jussieu in Paris, where he studied live, living blood cells, looked at their response to natural sound. He looked at healthy cells, he looked at HeLa cancer cells, and again, he discovered these amazing results. All of those became the basis for the Tamado Academy, which I graduated from in 2011.
So repeat the name of the academy.
It's called Tamado. It means the way of the soul.
Tamado Academy. And where is it located? In Paris?
It's located in Malibu.
Malibu, okay.
And it also has a summer presence in Switzerland, right here.
So Malibu is in California and in America, for those that are internationally. So the international sound training happens in Malibu, but also has a Switzerland depository?
Yes, there's trainings in Switzerland, and of course, the teachers travel around to different parts of the world. But you can find out more information if you just look at Tamado online. Get a lot of great
Tamado.
Yeah, it's tama-do.com if you want more info about that.
tama-do.com. I think that's really useful. I would love to hear a little bit elaboration on especially the scientific findings, what you discovered when sound penetrates cells. And I love the concept of the overtones, inviting us to increasingly finer or more refined levels of the same. Like, tell us a little bit about overtones, what they actually are. You talked about the phi ratio, the golden means, that when you take a spiral, maybe you can walk us through. Not everybody knows these things. So take a spiral. I think we have seen it. We've probably seen it, but didn't know what we saw and what that means. Like, what's the ratio about, and where does it take us, and why does it affect us?
Well, really, there's a lot of different facets to this. There's a whole mathematical kind of field on this stuff. But I just take away from it the importance of how the sounds create this wonderful effect where you start to feel like when one note is struck and all of a sudden these other notes start coming into your awareness, all from one strike. A little bit of kinetic energy creates this wonderful energetic release that then allows the whole body to just chill out. And there are different tones that are used in the Tamado system for the different energy centers of the body, the chakras.
Yeah.
And so these chakras are also a spiraling energetic presence for us, for those of us who believe in that. And then I believe what happens is that the spiral of these overtones, which you find in nature, in the wind, the waves, in the bird songs in the human voice. It's all around you. Which explains why we just want to go by a waterfall and sit by it. We don't necessarily want to go in the freezing cold water here in Switzerland. So when you're by these waterfalls, you have incredible sensation of some spiraling sounds that come from a natural source.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. It's the same principle that's at work here. And so when these forces start to engage with the energy field of the body, you start to feel a little bit like things are smoothing out.
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's phenomenal.
You get transported to places. You start to feel like time and space actually
Yes.
fold together. You might feel like you're being visited by loved ones. You might feel like you might be traveling to different places. Everybody has a different response. But the magic of it is, I believe it's that the spiraling effect interacts with what's happening in our field that also carries that same spiral. If you look at the Taurian field, for example, it's happening constantly.
At the toroidian field is what you're saying?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you look at the morphogenetic field theory from
Rupert Sheldrake?
Rupert Sheldrake,
Mm-hmm.
there's also some wonderful evidence about what's happening in the space between the physical and the non-physical world, and that's where the overtone works.
I mean, for me, in the sessions that I had, and I came to a number of different sound healing sessions with you, and had invited other people. I had you at one of our seminars, and what I experienced is it opens up such a degree of coming home to your heart, but to your deeper levels of your soul, your heart, your subconscious, your deeper longings, the things I might have put away that I didn't know. They were like deeply embedded soul longings that awaken, that come back. And it's like you start listening, being able to put into a space where you're given permission to listen to yourself at a higher level. I mean, that's one of the journeys. I mean, you do sound healing in many different ways, but when you create the journeys where you play and invite people into this ascension of sounds that are surprisingly played over you, including smells, including colors, including sound, I know from all the people in the seminars, they've like felt this invitation to the depth of their soul. The layers of themselves started opening up, like you're saying. I just wanted to share that as a personal experience from the sound journeys that you've done with us. These were different than individual sound healing sessions, maybe, but it's an opening to the octaves within yourself.
That's absolutely right, Ilona, and so many people tend to really respond to the voice in particular. And I don't sing at all in English when I do these sessions.
Right.
And yet people, there is something that is evoked.
Yeah.
It's an evocative experience with the voice. And it makes sense because my teacher's research, like I mentioned back in 1981, when he looked at all the different instruments, all the different ways in which the different blood cells respond to those instruments, he discovered that the number one most effective instrument in empowering the healthy cells and also dissolving and disrupting and obliterating the cancer cells was the human voice.
Wow.
There's something about the consciousness that can come through human voice which really is penetrating, and I think it's something that we have known since the shamanic times when people would just chant, and it's primal and it brings up something that's it's soulful.
Yeah, soulful.
It's food for the soul, azaya ruh, as the Sufis would say. It's really, there's something there about these vibrations that activates us and puts us in a space where we feel like, we can be ourselves again. It actually harmonizes our own vibration. That's my personal.
Is it, one way of doing that is going to a practitioner. Can you do private sessions over Skype, something like a voice session?
I could do voice sessions over Skype, no problem, yeah.
Really?
Absolutely, absolutely. But what I would recommend is that people find a practitioner who they resonate with and who they feel safe enough and can engage with these wonderful practices. And also, look, it's not just the human voice from practitioners that's powerful here. It's also your own voice.
Yes.
You can count on that as the number one most healing sound that's available to you. This is the reason I believe the voice was given to us. It's one of the main reasons, not just to be able to communicate to the outside world and share what's our truth, but also to be able to use as a therapeutic tool to bring empowerment to the organic structure, to the blood. It's just something that we have locked out of our lives today,
Right.
especially since we've become so technology driven. Our
Right.
voices have shrunk into the devices. And so it's my goal to get people, and you know this from the sessions that I do, at the beginning, I don't just have people lay back and just receive the sounds. There's a moment where there's some engagement,
Right.
tone with the vowels, perhaps do a mantra together,
Yeah.
chant together. That's the heart of sound that is not only harmonizing internally, and people get so hung up with their voices. Oh, I don't sing. I'm not going to sing unless I'm in the shower or I'm in the car, and never the twain shall meet. But I find that if you just remind people that this is not about entertainment,
Right.
this is about a therapeutic tool that you can use on your own at any time. Just vowels. You just experiment with it, and you can feel the difference. This voice brings about all these wonderful changes.
So can you walk us through one exercise of
Sure.
feeling and exemplifying in your vibration? You do it and we model it. Like, how do you open to the overtones within yourself? Or doing and the voweling and anything. Yes, whatever you want to share.
One thing that is very simple that I would love your viewers to just explore is the human hum. Humming. And you can just simply drop in and close your eyes, take in a deep breath, and then let go of the hum. And find a tone that works for you, and continuing to hum at your own pace with your own personal tone that works for you. And if you loosen your lips, the hum can travel, and you can start to feel it traveling throughout the face, the scalp, back of the head. Immediately it has a sedating effect, relaxing effect, coming down to the throat. Down to the base of the neck and to the shoulders. You can play with your hum, see if you can find what resonates best for you. Working down the chest and the sides of the torso, the back.
And when you say bringing the sound in the torso, you put your mind there and you start sending the vibration of the sound into the back of your back rather than just singing out your throat, singing out your upper vocals. You go into the sound resonant chamber and you focalize
Absolutely. You can physically feel the sound. You can experience that sound of your own vibration.
So it's like a laser light. Yes.
It's a laser light. You can come down to charge your own kidneys, down to the sacrum, create space in the belly and the intestines. And the thing about the hum is, as you're continuing to do this, that if you're feeling a part of your body that is not humming, then that is really an indicator that something is tense, something is tight, something needs greater awareness and attention. So it's a wonderful diagnostic tool, as well as a way to immerse in your own vibration to send beautiful sound throughout the body without having any judgment about how it sounds.
That's beautiful. That is like you make yourself a resonant sound chamber, you make yourself a resonant echolocation being, you learn how to differentiate between parts of your body through that. Because I think a lot of people, they just go like, okay, there must be a heart and a kidney somewhere, but we don't echolocate them with our sound, you know?
And
Beautiful.
you would know the value of this with your beautiful work with dolphins, which
Yes.
is so inspiring on its own. But this is really it. I mean, we've got the same capacities here with
Mm-hmm.
sound,
Mm.
and we are just not using our voices enough because there is a pressure to be,
Yeah.
good, to be
It's
great.
And there is an externalization in our civilization that is almost taking us down the wrong path. I mean, it's my perception is that that's why I'm doing this conference too, is to bring our attention inward, use our consciousness, and then create change in the physical. That it's not generated from the outside to the inside, but the other way around, actually. So that we
And this exercise is exactly based on that same
Yes,
kind of
same,
fundamental.
beautiful. And you know what I love? I love Sabrina Fox, a friend of mine, author. She was known here in America for the angel woman, but she does this body blessing, you know, and I think just taking our sound to our heart, to our muscles, to our arms, and saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mm,
Ooh,
beautiful.
would that be
I love
beautiful?
it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And actually, God, if we could do this every day, maybe for 10 minutes and go through our body and do this extra, I'll remember this. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll report to you in a week and go how I'm feeling. 10 minutes every
Yeah,
day.
do it. I mean, and one thing is that, for those of us who have trouble with our voices, who don't feel like we can sing, it's really, really easy to just start with the hum.
Yeah.
And then you can allow the hum to gradually evolve into a vowel. Just work with the vowels themselves, and you can clear the head, you can increase your lung capacity, you can feel just a little more centered and grounded. So
Right.
try it. I mean, I personally, people who are having scuffles, I tell them both to just take some time and go and like sit in a corner and hum to themselves, preferably in
Oh,
an outside beautiful space. But humming or toning, as you know, and there's a Keys wrote a wonderful book about it years ago, has an incredibly positive effect on the physiology. And this has been recorded. This has been studied.
yes.
We're just coming back to something that we've forgotten.
So, in that research that you were quoting, that was done with the human cells through the sound, they were using a human directed voice at cells and then observed what those cells did.
Precisely. And other instruments were observed as well.
Okay. But the most powerful was the human voice.
That's right.
So what did they try to hit certain particular notes, or what was the determining factor that really hit the core essence of that cell, or what was it?
Well, you'd have to do the training to find out what the answer is for that. But I can tell you that there are definitely different sequences
Okay.
and intervals, and the intervals are just as important as the tone themselves, because
Okay.
you have to bring in music theory here
Right.
as well as scientific stuff and spiritual stuff. Music theory is really where the interval knowledge is, and there are certain intervals in music theory that can empower and make you feel like you're kind of getting energy and
Yes.
building courage. And there are other intervals, for example, that are meant for sedating. And
Right.
it's really a beautiful blend that my teacher had managed to discover, because in Chinese medicine there are even points for sedating and empowering different organs.
Right.
And so, he found this wonderful way to be able to, 12 different organs in the Chinese medicine system, 12 different notes in the chromatic scale. He just discovered this awesome system, and it's still going today, and it's going very strongly. So
Awesome.
anybody who really wants to explore this, I would thoroughly recommend Tamado as a place to start.
tama-do.com. And then when people explore this, I mean, that is like that's more complex, but like, for example, the sound harps that I have bought, I think they have intervals of let's say the note C and G, the the 5 notes in between.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's a fifth.
yeah, a fifth, right?
That's the most empowering interval.
Okay. So that strengthens.
That strengthens, that brings energy in, that brings
Mm-hmm.
vitality in.
Mm.
And, it's, if you look at the Tibetan system of the chakras, for example, they go by the cycle of this interval. The lowest frequency for the lowest chakra is then followed by the fifth for the next chakra,
Ah,
and so on and so forth. And
interesting.
Tamado is based on the same system too. So when I'm doing those sound harmonization concerts that I did over in
Right.
Shambhala, it was exactly the same thing.
Ah,
Same
interesting.
principle. It's both relaxing and empowering at the same time.
So how do you unify the different teachings on, there are the people who say F is the heart note and C is this note and D is the actually, I mean, there's amazing research. Sherry Edwards did sound recordings, and she would record the voice and find out that the voice that we speak with individually, each of us have different notes that are missing. And I found my D was missing, which if a person has a D missing, it makes them tentatively more attached and or have difficulty with letting go. And that's really my bigger thing. My father died when I was 2, so that's definitely one. But it also happens to coincide with a person who's a Gemini. It's also the color orange, and I abhorred orange. And so I started putting orange into my life. I started buying one of those bowls and played the note D. Can you expand a little bit on that? Would you have any more information on that or research that you might have witnessed that you can share about that? The precise notes that are in our voice that are lacking and how we...
I love that there is so much variety in this world, because it really comes down to resonance.
Yeah.
What is it that's going to resonate with you and your journey? And if it was all just one uniform style, then I think the world would be in trouble.
Right.
I
see.
So my personal, Sherry Edwards has her personal approach to this. For Tamado, we are constantly, when we're working with people, we're constantly searching for that person's fundamental tone.
Yes. Okay.
And this is something which my teacher studied. When the fundamental tone is struck on a person, and their blood forms almost a perfect mandala.
Oh, really?
Under the microscope.
Really?
It changes color, and it creates this beautiful this kind of synergy, and this there's balance there, and so I really find that this is a really beautiful thing to be searching for while giving a person a session, is to really find what is that tone. And my teacher has a beautiful system of finding that, discovering what works, and everybody is different. Everybody goes by a different vibration. And so I believe that what Sherry's doing and what others do, Gibson has his own way of discovering this thing through his methods.
Gibson. I don't know about his system.
But it's essentially the same principle, that we're all looking to try to find that one facet of the vibrational world that is going to make a person come alive.
Yeah.
And that is going to give them juice.
Yeah.
And make them be
connected.
Able to engage.
Yes.
And then it's a question of finding that note. It doesn't stop there. It's just finding the harmony between your particular note and what the world offers you. And so there's all different layers and all different ways to approach this. Like I said in the last segment, everything boils down to this really important craft and art of being able to listen, being able to give yourself the freedom to really tune in and say, is this what I'm really about?
And I love when you do that toning, what I felt like going down through my body, the it required, even though I was toning and humming, it required me to listen to hear where did it go? Where could I feel it go, hit into my kidneys, my heart? Could I sense that yes resonance in myself?
Yes, and think about, that's just one dimension of listening that has
Right.
nothing to do with the ears.
Right.
And when my teacher was looking at these blood cells, we're not even talking about what's happening on an auditory level in terms of it going into the brain and being processed and then transferring the physiology and the interaction that's going on there. It's the direct experience of the blood and how it responds to sound.
To vibration.
That's important.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really important because it tells you that it's not just about what goes on
sound
in the ears.
Yep.
Actually, in all these other dimensions, that the blood itself has a consciousness. Blood itself, the organs, the structure, everything are responding to sound constantly, every minute of every day.
And so with sound, what we can do within ourselves or with others, we can like hone it and have it be focalized, right?
Yeah. What I like to say is that these instruments, there's such a wide spectrum of them, and they're each just a different embodiment of different aspects of life.
Yeah.
And when you start to do, I do an intro to sacred sound workshop immersion, which is a day or 2 days long or something, and you really learn about how the instruments are grouped, whether there's instruments that are more on a physical level and how you can respond on a physical level with them, like drum and didgeridoo. They're very much about feeling that vibration.
You really feel it, did you? Yeah.
Right. Of course, because it's just so low and deep.
Yeah.
And so that there's an aspect of life that has to do with the lower frequency there, and whether that frequency is being fed and nourished, is nourishing a person enough, or maybe it's too much, whatever. And then, of course, there are other instruments that have more of an emotional quality to them, and so they're meant for evoking. Feelings,
yes,
the beautiful stringed instruments, beautiful flutes. Human voice, compositional music does this, and so on and so forth. You can group these instruments in such a way, and they're just different dimensions of the human experience that we're talking about.
And I love how you just said that sentence: different dimensions of being human, of the human experience. We exist at many levels, and we co-resonate in many levels. And even just entering into conversation, we enter into co-resonance in many more ways than just auditory shared words.
Naturally, of course. And you, as someone who navigates these planes so skillfully, so you know that there's so much of this going on. When there's an engagement going on this level, there's also so many things happening. And so that's what these traditions are meant to show. And and naturally with sound, it comes across with color. People who don't resonate with sound can always turn to color. And other ways, because we're multidimensional beings. It relates to different types of vibrations that are out there. Smell, very fine, very sensitive. Some people are very tuned into smell.
Yeah, and so you combine them all into your sessions. I mean, that's the beauty of being unplugged in person right there. There is something. But meanwhile, I'm happy we can download your song. Thank you very much for gifting that to us. And whoever wants to find out about more of your albums or this album, the entire album is down below in the soundhealingbali.com. And I love you, and we're past our time here. Thank you so much.
Much love to you. Thank you, Ilona. Thank you for all you're doing for our community and you're the bridge too. You're really sharing us and our voices with those people who normally would not be able to receive them. So thank you for all you do.
And thanks to you, and thank you for all our listeners to make this and share this information. Share it with your friends. If you have all the access pass, I don't care if you multiply it and duplicate it and give it away or let other people in and listen to it. Share the information with all the people that you can to help bridge and make this place a better world. Thank you.
Thank you. Bless you.
Bless you.